Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everybody. Hello, Maverick family. Great to have everybody here. Did you see the big fight last night? I did. After the broadcast, I went out. I found it. I took a look. What a show. We're going to talk about that tonight. Not just about the fight itself, but about the culture, what it means for Mike Tyson, what it meant to you, and we'll give you a chance to weigh in on the conversation as well. We'll go to the phones and give you a chance to share your views. Also, tonight, Justin Trudeau in Peru. We'll tell you why. We have, what else do we have? We have, Vladimir Zelensky asserting his sovereignty, saying that the United States, no country really dictates to Ukraine. We'll touch on that tonight as well. Lots of news out there to weigh in on, not the least of which is a lawsuit involving perhaps one of your favorite foods, Kraft Dinner. And it's timely given that RFK Jr. is prepared to go to war with the food industry, the food processing industry. We'll explore that issue a little bit tonight as well. So there's lots on tap. You're not going to want to miss any of it. And you get to participate by exercising your right to free speech. Stay with me.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay. Before we get into this, we're just going to go straight to the phones tonight. So I might as well get that number rocking and rolling. And here we go. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call now, 1-519-401-1373. One 519-401-1373. Exercise your right to free speech. That's 1-519-401-1373. That's 1-519-401-1373. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. All right. Okay, Johnny's on the phone. He's first up tonight. And I want to talk about this fight last night. Just give me the recap, because you're the fight guy far more than me.
I was disappointed in the fight. I would rather see Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre going at it than these two old idiots. I tell you.
Yeah.
That would have been a better. And then all the Netflix. All I seen is everybody's complaining that Netflix is down and it's freezing, and you know what I mean.
Yes.
Some people gave up. They said, I had enough of this. I was watching it, and I wasn't watching it on Netflix. I was watching it on another channel, and it said issues with Netflix. It did freeze a few times too, though, on mine. But anyways, I don't know. Jake is done. That's it. He's finished, man.
Jake, you mean Tyson?
No, Jake Paul
is done?
He's done. That's it. His days are numbered now. All the pro boxers want to get to him now, right? He ain't fighting no more 60-year-olds. He's going to be fighting pro boxers, you know? He's going to get his head kicked in.
Well, there's a rumor out there tonight that's going viral that says that he's now challenged Jimmy Carter, who is 100 years old, to a fight.
Oh, shit. Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. The ex-president. I guess Jake Paul's calling him out. He says, "Come on, tough guy, Mr. Mr. President."
I don't know. I was watching the beginning of the fight. This big black guy, he walked into Jake's dressing room, and he took off his shoes, and he gave them to Jake, and Jake put them on. He put on someone else's shoes. I don't know why he does that. I don't know if that's a custom of him doing that, but I looked at it. I go, that's kind of strange. Yeah. You know, the guy took off his boxing shoes and passed them to him, and he put them on.
I don't know what that's about. It seems like some sort of a ritual, or maybe a custom, or maybe it has something to do with martial arts and respect or something like that, or superstition.
I don't know, but that was weird. And you know, that place was Texas with the Dallas Cowboys. 80,000 people filled the joint. They packed the place, sold out.
Well, that's what it was all about, though, right? It was about the audience, the ratings, the money.
I heard $80 million, 40 million each.
No, I understand from what I read. It's 40 million is what Jake Paul received, and Tyson received half that, 20.
I read that too, but then I was reading it was 80 million, 40 each. But anyways, still that's a lot of dough.
That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you know, and I'm surprised that if that's the case, that it's that uneven, because honestly, it was Tyson that was the draw. His name, that's what packed him in. His legacy, even though he says he doesn't want one because he's just gonna die and turn to dust. That was a strange comment, I thought.
I think Tyson. If you look at Jake Paul, he didn't even hit him hard.
Yeah, that's the thing, eh?
No.
And then in the post-fight news conference, Jake Paul said that he actually did pull some punches because he didn't really want to hurt Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me.
That's what it looked like to me, too. So, what do you think of that? Do you think that's fair to the public? Do you think that's, to bill a fight like that, as opposed to be a knockdown, drag him out, full, no holds barred,
People
like
got
actual
ripped.
competition, legitimate?
People should ask for their money back.
Mm.
I think. The fight before that was two girls, and one girl, she had a third eye, but she got clocked on her eye so many times.
She had a
was
third
bleeding like
eye?
crazy.
A third eye?
Well, her eye was just bleeding like crazy, and it was all ballooned up.
Oh.
The fight before that, now that was a fight.
Kind of like the aliens in our Killers from Outer Space movie last night with the ping pong ball eyes.
That's what her one eye looked like. Exactly. Oh yeah, there was Amanda something. I don't know. They were also old, not old, but they haven't fought for a while, and that was a good fight. That one I enjoyed. There was a lot of blood, people getting hurt.
So you like that, do you? Yeah, you like that violence. I know.
Well, that's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
But
it appeals to the base instincts of humanity, doesn't it?
But
animal instincts.
the real winner last night was Paul's ear. He made it through with his ear not being bit off.
That's right. That's
what do you
right. Yeah, Tyson has a sort of an ear fetish, so he's lucky he got out of there with his hearing intact.
One of the commentators, I was watching Tyson. He's always biting his glove, his thumb.
Yeah.
And the commentator goes, I noticed you're always biting your glove. What is it with that? He goes, I got a bad habit of biting. So,
and when we spoke earlier, didn't you say that Evander Holyfield was actually in the audience? Like,
yeah, he was there last night. Yeah,
with his mangled ear on full display.
Shaq was there. There was quite a few celebrities. Quite a few. Yeah, well. Yeah. Everybody wanted to see Mike Tyson. It's been like 4 or 5 years.
Yes. And and that last, like I said last night in our conversation, he in his last fight, which was supposed to be like an exhibition match, right? But that generated big money, big audience. He just did not look. He looked slow. He looked old then, to me. And I thought, well, maybe I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's managed to get into better shape this time. But when I was watching it, he'd finish up the round, kind of make it through, and then he looked like me getting out of bed in the morning. When he was walking back to the ring to sit down on his stool and looked tired, and he'd just stagger over there. I mean, to me, he looked tired, and his age showed.
Yeah, well, CNN's headline on the fight: Mega nationalist beats down on defenseless black man.
Oh my God!
Mega
that's
nationalist
terrible.
Beats down on the defenseless black man.
Well, Jake Paul at the end of the fight, he did sort of give what appeared to be sort of a pro-Trump, all-American sort of message, thanking the average American worker out there for holding the country together, and says feels like we're back. So that was sort of a pro-MAGA rant at the end of the whole thing. Did you notice that, or did you see that?
Yeah. Well, the Tyson's big. They're all. I think they're all mega last night.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I think Jake Paul and Tyson. And I'm pretty sure they're all pro. But
I'm gonna run this little GIF here, this video, on our little loop. But did you notice Jake Paul with his tongue?
Yeah, I seen that.
What is that? So he gets clocked there, and then he's like sticking his tongue out, wagging it at Tyson. Like, what is that? Is that like a Jake Paul thing?
I don't know. I don't follow him. Yeah, there he goes there, right? He's just enticing him, man. He's just trying to get to him. He's trying to get to him. he's saying, hit me, you know?
Oh, he got hit. He got hit right on the chin in this clip that I'm running right now.
I'm telling you, it's all about the money here.
Yes, yeah. It seemed like they were just kind of dancing around in the ring, honestly, though.
But see, Tyson, when I looked at his warming up, all his training videos, and he looked like an ox, you know. I thought for sure he'd knock him down, you know.
But you know, in boxing, it's like there's brute strength, and then you need the stamina, though, right? So.
Boxing's, I go 2 minutes and I'm out. I'm finished. I'm
that's
done.
Right. Yeah. So.
No, that's it. I'm done. No more. You need you go 8 rounds, 2 minutes. That takes a lot out of you.
Yes, endurance, man. You need the endurance.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know these guys.
I have the top highlight of the night here queued up though. Here, let me see if I can show it to you. I don't know. Did you see this with Tyson and I guess it was in the dressing room just prior to the fight, and he was being interviewed, and and we get to see Mike Tyson's bare butt. Viewer discretion is advised. Did you see this?
No.
There it is. There's the moon shot. Oh man. Yeah. So that was that worth the ticket price?
Chaps on or something?
Yeah, he's got like I don't know what that is.
G-string.
Sort of a boxing harness thing to harness his other parts and hide those. But when he turns around, his bare butt's showing on Netflix.
Well, they were swearing on Netflix too, and
were they?
It was, it was a little bit of a, I don't know.
Oh man, yeah. So it felt like a day at the beach for a moment.
I didn't really get into that much. I found it kind of fake, and I just watching it. And Mike Tyson threw half the punches that Jake did. He threw more, but they weren't hard punches. They were just kind of more like jabs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like they were sparring.
Yeah, it was like It didn't feel like a fight to me at all. It was like they got in the ring, they danced around. Yeah, like they kind of engaged a little bit, but it was like Tyson barely ever hit him. He barely got near him. Jake Paul hit Tyson a couple of times, and we got wobbly right away. That was early in about the third round, I think. And then they stretched it out.
Even the end of the fight, they had that warning bell, ding ding on a pipe there.
Yeah.
And Jake just stopped fighting. He started giving the hands up to Tyson like the match is over. Like they had like 20 seconds to go still or more.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. That told me it was rigged. It was. For that kind of money, they were just sparring. The fight was like 20 minutes, 18, 20 minutes. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like $1.5 million a minute.
Yeah, unbelievable, man. But it just shows
if you think about it, I think it's around that much.
Shows the draw, though, that Mike Tyson still has, just his name, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know, John. I think that at this point, he's done. Because after that performance last night, they can't pull this again.
At $40 million, if he spends that money wisely, the money will outlive him anyways.
Yeah, he better not go up and buy, tigers again and start having the big parties at his mansion and.
I think those days are over for him.
Yes.
But it's.
But hey, if you can't live comfortably on $20 million US.
40. He got 40. I'm telling you.
Well, maybe he did. I'm just. That's what I'm seeing. you know.
And then I'm trying to find out how much he made, and I'm hearing 40. They both got 40 each.
I heard 40 for Paul, 20
Yeah,
for Tyson. That's what is being reported on the sites I went to. But who knows, man? And for all I know, maybe they each got $1.95 and they're just blowing those numbers up to impress people as part of the hype. Even that could be just fake. But who knows? It's probably real.
I heard it was 40, and 20 million for production.
$20 million for production. Hell, I've got a production company. I'll do it for less. I'll do it for a quarter of that.
That's what I heard. But 80,000. Hey, you know how many times I haven't been in a long time, but I used to go WWE all the time. That's what it reminded me of last night. WWE.
Yeah.
But I used to get the 200 levels, and it would cost me like $35 a ticket, right?
Yeah.
Which was good. But then if you wanted to sit in ringside, it was over $1,000 a seat. You know?
Yeah.
Because I tried to get there, and I said, I'm not paying that kind of money. But the seats are foldable, padded, and it's got a WWE logo on it, and you get to keep the seat for $1,000.
So for the next event, if you bring your seat back, do you get your ticket for half price because you brought your own seat?
No, I don't think so. I went down there and I'm watching, see someone leaves their seat behind, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody took their seat with them. Yeah. I tried to buy one off someone for a couple $100. They wouldn't sell it, you know?
Yeah.
No, they want it. It cost them over $1,000 for that seat.
Man. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's how they make money there for, you know. I just like the women. That's why I when they come on, I always sneak up to the front anyways to watch the women.
To watch the women, what, like the ring girls or the what are you talking about?
No, the women fighters.
The women fighters.
I like watching the women fighters better than the man fighters, you know.
Why? What is it about that you like?
I don't know. They're more feisty and everything, you know. The men, I don't like looking at men with those sport speedos on. I don't like speedos.
So you didn't appreciate what I just showed you there with Mike Tyson's butt. You didn't appreciate that at all.
I passed on that.
Oh my!
If it was a woman's butt, that'd be a little bit better, but
depends.
I'm not in the men's butt.
It depends on on which butt you're looking at, I guess. Man.
Yeah, I always sneak up there for the women, and sometimes I get kicked out. But what the heck? I try.
Well, the female wrestlers are scrappier, I think, and there's a lot more hair pulling.
Yeah. Actually, it's you know. But some of the guys wear proper, you know, shorts. You know, but the ones that wear speedos, I can't look at them. You know, I just look at them and I go, they look like they're bodybuilders, and they're all buffed up, like, you know. Oh man, not my cup of tea.
And so people were
steroids.
Actually, yes. Well, there's lots of that in wrestling. Yeah, a lot of steroids.
Maybe women like that stuff, but not me.
Yeah, it makes people very aggressive too, from what I understand.
But you know, I don't know about wrestling. I've never been to a boxing match, but WWE. Every time I go, you know what the fun part is? The fans. They really get into the wrestlers. They run them down and they cut them up, and it's big.
Now, so are these? Do they take it? Like, are they really taking it seriously?
Yeah, the fans. Fuck yeah! I had an argument with one guy because he was running down. What's his name? I forget. He's got leukemia now. He's not wrestling. But I say he's the best fighter in the world ever. And what are you running them down? He goes, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. He's running them down more. And so I started going the other way. Roman Reigns. That's the guy.
Okay.
So I started rooting for Roman Reigns. And but everybody runs down the wrestlers like, oh boy, and they make a lot of noise, on the boards and the seating, like they're gonna bust the place. They're crazy. The wrestling fans, it's the craziest fans you've ever seen. Mm-hmm. They go wild. If you ever get a chance to go see a wrestling match, the fans are crazy. I'm telling you, they destroy everything. They're just wild. That's what I like about wrestling so much. It's just the energy and
the energy last night was pretty negative by the time we got to the end of that fight, because people were actually booing.
Yeah, they wanted their money back a lot.
It was pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways.
And I did see there were, I don't know, it was a script for the fight that was circulating online, as though to say it's been fixed and it's all rigged and here's the script, and Jake Paul was supposed to knock Mike Tyson out in the 8th round. But in the end, I don't think it played out like the script said. So I think the script was fake, but...
Yeah, they asked Jake when Mike Tyson slapped him, and Jake says, well, I stepped on his foot and he slapped me for stepping on his foot. He was little wee foot, he says, I stepped on. His little wee foot I stepped on. He slapped me.
So, and then after the fight, Tyson said that, what was it? He basically said that he's grateful for having had the opportunity, that he wasn't out there to prove anything to anyone other than himself. And it sounds like for him, this was his last time in the ring. Do you believe? So. Do you think so? Do you believe that?
Yep. I think he knew. It was all planned that Jake was going to win 8 rounds, and he was going to take it easy on him. They're both getting good dough for doing that, so but now Jake Paul, I'm telling you, some of the big boys are going to come after him now. He's not going to win. He's gonna probably get knocked out for sure now. Mm-hmm. He's 11-1 after that fight last night. You know that?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. 11-1.
And most of the fights, there's only one good fight that he did, and he lost. The one that he lost was the only good boxer. All the other ones were just like Tyson's,
You're right, though, because now that he's won this up against Tyson, big name, big money, now his status is elevated. He has more, of a following, right? His name has become a household name in many respects. So now he's a draw. So
that's what I think.
Yeah, so you're right. You'll have real contenders who will want to fight with him. Like you're going to get a big name boxer who will want to challenge him, and then he'll get his block knocked off.
Well, this was 40. The next fight, he's going to make at least 40 million or more, right?
Potentially.
He's not going to make less. And it's going to be a more higher profile fight.
Yeah, so that'll push him right up the ladder, just for the business reasons alone, into the next tier up, and maybe above that. He's going to be fighting above his capabilities, likely. You're right.
But Jake Paul had longer reach, more weight. He was taller. He outclassed him. And Tyson just a little guy. And the older you get, the weaker and the smaller you get.
Yes.
And you start shrinking.
That's right. I walked into my kitchen today. In fact, it's funny you mentioned that. I just walked into my kitchen and I suddenly felt like I was smaller. It's true. I had that feeling. It was like, I feel like I'm smaller. And then I looked down at my stomach and I went, nope.
And
No.
Mr. Steven Seagal there. He's getting bigger and bigger.
And bigger. Yeah. He keeps ballooning. Oh,
I
man.
don't know what he's eating, man. But
Well, that's probably Jake Paul's actual next challengers, Steven Seagal.
Oh, that'd be good. I'd like to see that fight. But Seagal ain't boxing him, that's for sure. He's going to just... Steven Seagal will eat him for lunch.
You think so? Even when he's like 350 pounds?
Yeah, he's big. Yeah, he's got... He's got Japanese martial arts, so like he knows the spots on your body. You know what I mean? He can hit a certain spot on your body, and that's it. You're down, gone.
You know, if he can catch you.
I watch a lot of Chinese martial arts movies, and a lot of these old Chinese men, they can fight because they know the spots on your body to hit. You know
Yeah,
what mean?
I know a good spot too.
Right between the legs.
Right in the cojones. Works every time. Just haul off and kick the guy right in the nuts.
No, but these guys, they can just touch these spots on your body, and they're like Spock, you know? Remember Spock? He's touching the neck.
Yeah, the Vulcan neck pinch, yes. There you go. There was a movie a long time ago where Henry Winkler, the Fonz from Happy Days, played it was like this wrestling thing. I don't remember what the movie was. I just remember that he had to have like a character, like all the other wrestlers. So I don't remember the name of the character, but it was like mind control that he came up with. So he would go in the ring and he'd like do a thing with his hands and pretend to do like mind control on his opponent. I don't know what that movie was. So stupid. It was just so stupid. Yes.
I just seen him the other day. He's old, eh?
Yes.
Oh my God. He's aged a lot, that guy.
Yeah.
And his wife, man. Oh, man, I don't know how he wakes up with her. You figure the Fonz would have a, you know.
Wow, who's his wife? I don't know who he's married to.
Oh, check it out on the internet. Henry Winkler's wife.
Oh, Henry Winkler. I'm going to look here.
There's a guy, what's his name? Tyson. He's on Fox. He used to be WWE wrestler. He's got a beard.
Stacy Weitzman. What's wrong with Stacy Weitzman?
Huh?
You got a thing with what? I don't know. I see Stacy Weitzman. That's his wife. I don't know who she is.
Well,
what's wrong with? I am. I'm googling it right now. Wait, she doesn't appeal to you? You don't think she's hot enough for the Fonz?
I don't know. Maybe it was a bad shot that I was looking at. But,
she looks okay to me.
Actors, all their wives and everything. Oh, yeah, here we go. Let me see.
Yeah. Stacy Weitzman.
Can't see that. Zoom in there. Looks like. She's okay there. I don't know. Maybe it was the picture I was looking at.
And when she was younger, she was like super smoking hot. Like definitely Fonzie material.
But look at Fonzie. He looks pretty old.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I think he did okay. I think that I don't know if she could probably do better. I was in an elevator with Henry Winkler once.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You sure it was him?
Oh no, it was him. I was at a comic convention. Who's the guy from Battlestar Galactica, the commander? Not the original Battlestar Galactica, the new one. Oh, its name escapes me.
Yeah, I never watched that.
The main dude. It was Edward James Olmos. So I'm at this comic convention, and I was there doing interviews with celebrities. I didn't interview him or Edward James Olmos, but I'm in an elevator, and they both got on at the same time.
Oh, they both got on.
They both got on together, and they're talking with each other, and I'm just like, I didn't say anything. I was just standing there. I got the Fonz and the commander from Battlestar Galactica in the elevator with me. And I was going to say something, but I couldn't think of anything intelligent to say at the time. And they were having a conversation, and I couldn't think of any way to interject into the conversation in a way that would seem natural. You know?
Hey, I know who you are.
Yeah. You know, I thought, no, I better not do that. No, they're not. He's not going to appreciate it. You know.
He's the Fonz there with the leather jacket. That was good. I used to watch Happy Days. That was a good show.
It was, yeah. And you know the thing about they both have this. They made an impression on me, even though I didn't speak to them. But there's something about certain people. They have, I don't know if it's charisma, but a real presence to them, right? Which is what makes them stars. And both of those guys in the elevator, this is such a weird conversation. They just had presence to them. They a commanding presence, you know, very serious. And even though Henry Winkler has played a lot of characters that were sort of like, I don't know, campy, you know, almost caricatures, he very serious tone to him. Like, obviously takes the craft very seriously. He's a serious guy. Very, very. It was just it made an impression on me. Both of those guys, just real presence, if you understand what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was good old days, right?
Yeah, well, that would be about. That had to be at least 10 years ago when I was in the elevator with those two guys. There's my celebrity story for the night, I guess. I met him. I was in the elevator. I didn't even talk to them, though. I don't. Does that count? Can I say I met them if I didn't talk to them?
No, that counts. You met him.
I'm just not like a super fanboy. I don't want to like fawn over somebody.
Me either.
Yeah.
I don't go chasing fans or stalking them.
Yeah, I like. It's just they're not gonna like it. You know, it's like.
Yes, the crap, eh?
Yeah, it's just leave them alone. Like they get it all day long, right? Because even me, like just because I was on TV a little bit, I go out and around here, people still know who I am. So sometimes they stop me in the supermarket or whatever. They just want to talk, and sometimes I don't even know who the people are, and I'm like, okay. You know, to me, it's a little weird because I don't think of myself like that. But if someone's seen you on television for years, even though it's been, and then they see you, they want to engage, and that's cool. So I make a lot of new friends that way. But it's a little bit odd for me because it's sort of the opposite, right? It's like they know me, but I don't know them, and it's just. I don't know if you understand it all. So when I see even just I'm in that little bit of recognition that I sometimes get, I can't imagine what it's like for somebody who's like a star who is just known universally, and everywhere they go, people recognize. It's got to be just like constantly, oh, can I have my picture taken with you? You know, it's just can't even go to the corner store.
A lot of people come up to me and say, hey, you're what's that guy there? One girl said, I look like a rubber plant. He goes, you're a rubber plant. I said, no.
You're a rubber plant?
Wrong person, I said.
You're a rubber plant? Just what makes that little old ant think that he can move that rubber tree plant?
You don't even know who rubber plant is.
I do know who rubber plant is. Yeah, it just sounded like you said rubber.
You know him. Oh, okay.
I know who Robert Plant is.
I got people coming up.
You do look kind of like.
I've seen you.
It's your hair, man. It's your hair. That's what makes you look kind of like it.
Well, sometimes, yeah. That's what. Anyways, I got a lot of people. You probably have people come up to you and accuse you of being somebody else, right?
Actually, that's the beauty of sort of being on TV but not being an actual celebrity is people have seen me, and then sometimes they come up and they'll say,
I've
seen you somewhere. So you know what I used to do? I don't do it. I don't really do this anymore. But if someone would do that to me, I'd make up a name. Right? I'd make up a name. I'd pick the first name of somebody else who's on TV and the last name of somebody else who's on TV. I'd mix the two names together, tell them that that was who I was, and then they'd say, "That's it." That's right. That's who you are. I'm like, that's right. So it's, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Is that a bad thing to do?
No, everybody does that. Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
That's why I don't go up to people that look like celebrities or nothing, because they probably bullshit me anyways.
It's just it's like when I would go out and when I was working in mainstream TV, I'd finish up interviews with people, like TV, camera, lights, right? The whole thing, the whole production out in the field, and then the person that I'm interviewing would look at me at the end of the interview, and you know what they would say? Quite often, they'd say, "When is this going to be in the newspaper?" Like, camera, like giant video camera, right? TV station, newspaper. Although now I suppose it would be maybe a relevant question because everything is multimedia. So when you're out there, now you're doing print, radio, television, social media, everything, and posting everywhere in various versions. So it makes sense now. But back then it didn't make sense. I wasn't with the newspaper, but it was funny. I had so many things. I have so many stories. I don't know if they're entertaining or informative. I don't know if anybody cares, but they're entertaining to me.
Oh yeah, I like stories.
Oh man. Well, quite a fight anyway last night, and that was absolutely an exercise in media. For me, the whole thing was nostalgic. It was, even though it was a crappy fight and probably to some degree rigged, so that Tyson didn't get hurt. I thought it was still entertaining. People sort of still got their money's worth because of the entertainment value. It was a step back in time. I appreciated it for that. It was sort of still kind of cool to see Mike Tyson get back in the ring, even though he had a knee brace on because he's an old man now and wobbled around a lot. But, I still saw some entertainment value in it. I'm not sure I completely agree with them doing it, but it is what it is. It was also an exercise in free market capitalism in a totally American style, if you really sit back and look at it.
He reminded me of Doug Ford, not Doug, Robert Ford, Rob Ford. Remember Rob Ford?
Yes, yeah.
I used to go to all his rallies, okay?
Yeah.
And I used to be in setting up tables. He was a good guy, Rob. Anyways, George Chuvalo went to every one of them.
Yeah.
And every time George Chuvalo, I always sat at the table with George Chuvalo. And everybody come up to him, George, and he's pulling on Mike Tyson, the fight, he's holding the gloves and ready to punch him.
Yeah.
George Chuvalo, he actually fought Muhammad Ali, you know that, eh?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. But I got a lot of pictures of me and George Chuvalo. He's a nice guy. That guy's a real good guy. But he went every time Rob Ford had a convention or one of those rallies or whatever we want to call them. He was there all the time. And I'd always sit in his table. He's just good. I like that guy, George Chuvalo.
Yeah. Ammo C9M says Henry Winkler covered in bees. Little Nicky. Maybe that's the name of the movie. I don't know. That I mentioned earlier. Let me just... I'm going to check that one. Henry Winkler. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah, no, that's not the movie that I was thinking of, I don't think. But he was in a movie called Little Nicky. I don't think I've seen that one.
Who's this?
Henry Winkler in Little Nicky.
I never heard of the other guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the name of that movie is. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You could find it.
The only movie I remember him is the one Day Shift or something like that.
Oh, Night Shift.
Night Shift. That was a good movie too.
That was a good movie. It was good. Really good.
Night Shift.
Yeah, I'm just going down.
See if you can play that one. That's an old one. You can probably play that. Eh?
No, that's not public domain. I can't use that one. For sure, it's
that was a good one. I remember that. I seen it once though, but you know.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you see a movie once, that's good enough for me. I don't usually see it twice, 3 times. But some movies are worth watching over again.
Oh yeah, like Star Wars. When I was young, I saw Star Wars. Oh, we used to go to watch like every week at the theater, and they played.
Movie?
Yeah, same movie. And in London, where I grew up, they ran that for years.
Waste of money.
Years they ran that movie for years, in the theater, for at least 2-3 years. And I used to go to the movies every Friday night with my friends, and if there was nothing else we wanted to see, we'd go see Star Wars again. Yeah, and they used to run it at the Westmount Cinema, and yeah, they ran in that movie theater. It was sort of like a secondary theater, and they had it over there on one of the screens constantly for it had to be at least 2 years.
Well, I've seen all the Star Wars. Some I've seen a couple of times. I like when the aliens go into the bar and they're all drinking, partying in the bar, you know. It reminds me of the future. That's what it's gonna be like, eh?
Yeah.
Illegal aliens everywhere, from everywhere in the world, from space, from everywhere. It just kind of. I like that part though. That was. And a lot of the machines were good. They were rockets and ships.
Yeah.
But no one. It's on Disney. What's it called? It's got Baby Yoda in it. I forget what it is.
Oh, I don't watch any of that stuff. See, it's just.
That's really good.
Is it good? Yeah.
That's a. Here it is here. Star Wars, Disney. The Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, yeah.
Watch that.
The Mandarin is where you go for dinner. Chinese food restaurant.
If you're a big Star Wars fan, watch The Mandalorian. That's an excellent series. You'll be hooked on it.
I watched like about 20 minutes of it once, and I was like, I don't want to watch this. I guess I have to start at the beginning and see if I can get hooked on it. But
I got hooked on it. That was good. That's Star Wars for you. And you got Baby Yoda in there too, right?
Oh, if it's got Baby Yoda, it's got to be good.
They're all fighting over it. Everybody wants Baby Yoda, right? So the Mandalorian ended up with it. Baby Yoda didn't want to leave the Mandalorian.
Now see, there's a guy who can fight, Yoda. Right? He flies through the air, does like triple, quadruple spinoramas in midair with his lightsaber, and flies. It'd be like just this little guy. Like there's a match for Steven Seagal. Little teeny Yoda against a 350-pound
but it's also
sumo
got
dude.
energy, and it's got, but it drains a lot of energy out of it. It gets really weak after it uses its energy.
Yeah.
But that's a great series. I really enjoyed Mandalorian. That's the one, Mandalorian.
Well, Yoda's just like a pissed off Kermit the Frog. That's what he is, with wisdom.
With wisdom.
Oh man. Well, I guess we should probably move on. Give me a final thought on the fight.
I want my money back.
There you go.
that was I don't know.
Well, I don't think we'll have too much trouble refunding your money because I don't think it cost you too much, did it?
Well, I watched it for free.
There you go.
And mine didn't freeze like Netflix. If I had Netflix, the people that I know had Netflix and it was freezing, and they couldn't watch it.
Yes.
So I know, but
Was that a pay-per-view event on Netflix, or was that part of the Netflix subscription?
no, I found it on some site on the internet.
Yeah, but I mean, the people who have Netflix, they didn't have to pay extra for it, did they? It just came as part of their Netflix.
No. $6.99 a month for Netflix.
Right.
You get to see that. Yes. Yeah. But I found it on some. People post all kinds of shit online. You know that, eh?
Oh yeah.
You gotta be careful with viruses, though.
Well, that's what happened to me, because when I went online to try to find it after the fact last night, after watching, after finishing up the program here, and then when I got a moment, I went and I found it, but I couldn't find like a proper like version to watch. There were watch parties, but it was just people talking on YouTube last night. I found it on Twitch. Then I went over and I clicked on it. I was like, okay, well, let's see if this is something I can see. And it had like a link on there. It said to watch, click this link in the chat.
Don't click a link.
So I clicked the link, and I got a virus on my Chromebook. So instantly, and then it started if you do not give us $1 million, we're going to show people all your dirty pictures and sort of whatever. So I had to do a power wash on my Chromebook and wipe all the crap off it. So I did that, but I did find it. I did watch it last night.
I got these links. I can watch any sport event, any hockey game, any football game, any sporting event, any pay-per-view. It's all online, but you got to be careful with viruses. That's what you got to be careful with. I don't click. Sometimes, like what happened to you, it says click this. I say nah. And I go back and try again. And eventually, it goes onto the channel.
I was just trying to find the fight, and there were some highlights so I could figure out what happened. And anyway, I did find enough to actually have the whole thing posted. I'm sitting there watching it. I don't know, a lot of piracy out there last night, and still today too, because you're telling me that it's available, the whole fight, even on YouTube, right?
I think, I seen it on YouTube, but the whole fight was on there. It was 28 minutes or something like that. Right from the beginning, the whole fight. Yeah. But you didn't see all the commentary and, the fight, you seen everything. But
the version,
the two women before that was the best fight of the night.
Yeah.
Amanda, that was real fighting, man. They were hurting each other.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of the other stuff. I just watched.
But Tyson and Paul, they didn't hurt each other. They're probably, dancing a storm today.
Yeah.
Boxers, when they get into a fight, man, they're done for like a week. Their eyes are all shot, and I'm telling you. But these two guys, nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
They don't even know they were in a fight.
Yeah, it was pretty clear to me they were just dancing in the ring and just kind of they weren't really trying to
hurt each other.
Yeah,
no. That's what I mean. It was just.
That's what it was.
It was all for the money.
All for the money. Yeah. There you go. All right. Well, thank you, John.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So,
Nice talking to you. Take it easy.
okay.
Bye.
See you. Bye. Okay. Let's take a little break here. And if you want to join the conversation, you can call 1-519-401-1373. We have other news we can talk about today, too, or we can continue talking about the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson bout last night. And that is still, all the talk right now on social media, beginning to wane a little bit because of the disappointment. And that's the bottom line.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom. Maverick News. The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Still there?
And we're back and we're live, and John from out in Alberta is on the line. And John, give me your thoughts on the big Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight from overnight. What did you think?
Well, good evening, Maverick folks from Alberta. I kind of thought it was a real rip job, Rick. Rather spend my money on anybody remember Stampede Wrestling out of Calgary with Stu Hart and Ed Whalen? Just seemed like I think it was just really way overhyped, eh?
Yeah, a lot of hype around it, that's for sure.
Well, I just glad I didn't pay to watch it. I'm like Johnny, I had watched it, on another channel. But yeah, I thought it was kind of a real, kind of like way overhyped. I kind of thought Mike Tyson was in his 60s, but he's like 58.
58 years old, yeah.
58 years old. But I thought it was really overhyped by Netflix. I mean, I guess those guys all made a lot of money, right?
Who knows how much, but yeah, I would say a lot. A lot.
And that Jake Paul is he's a What was he? Yeah, he's a young YouTuber, turned boxer.
Well, he's an MMA guy, and then just started in boxing, and now, 11-1, so 12 bouts professionally, and 11 wins, 1 loss, knocked most of his opponents out. So that's Jake Paul.
Well, I hope Tyson doesn't blow all the money, eh?
Yeah, well, it might be. I don't know if he's learned his lesson or not after amassing a huge fortune and then basically losing it all. But that's a common tale in those circles.
Well, he'll get a pretty hefty income tax bill from the IRS, wouldn't you think?
I would think so. On a $20 million or maybe even $40 million payday, yeah, I would think that the IRS is going to want a big chunk of that.
Who was that? Who's that girlfriend that he beat up? That long time ago. I can't think of her name.
Goodness.
He had that beautiful black girlfriend. Didn't he beat her up?
Well, there were
allegations.
Yeah, sex assault.
Allegedly.
And he did go to jail. Yes. Yeah.
Well, at least that Jake guy, at least he walked out of the ring with both of his ears intact, eh? Didn't get one tooth off, eh?
Yeah. So yeah, he was convicted of rape in it was like 1992, I think it was. I'm just looking it up here. Desiree Washington.
That's right. She's quite an attractive girl.
Yeah, Miss Black America pageant she was part of, and opinions on that vary. Obviously, controversial because of for a lot of different reasons. And that was a low point for Mike Tyson. That's for sure. He's had his share of troubles along the way, adversity, much of it self-inflicted because of his choices. As he said himself, nobody forced him to put those drugs into his body. And I think that had he made just a few better choices in life along the way, his career would have been much longer. He would have had even more success. But he just he just went down, like so many people who enjoy that level of fame and fortune, some wrong paths. And you start living that lifestyle of sex, drugs, rock and roll, and it takes a toll on you. And if you're a boxer or an athlete, you need to be in top physical condition. And it took his toll. That's why, my personal opinion, you can't go around smoking a lot of weed and aging along. You can't. And then get back in the ring. You need your lung capacity. You need to be in, top physical condition. You need the mental conditioning too. And I don't think he has that anymore. His psyche, his psychological outlook, it's all different now. You look back at him when he was young and hungry, and he had sort of a killer instinct, like a very scary guy. Now he's just so much more mild-mannered, more thoughtful, more experienced, but he's been tamed, I think, by money, fame, fortune. Even though he's still gone through adversity, I think he's learned a lot of painful lessons along the way, which makes him something of a philosopher, which is what he was sharing with that 14-year-old kid. We showed you that interview yesterday that has gone viral. Jazzy, that girl that interviewed him, and she's asking him pretty deep questions, and he's coming back with some pretty deep answers, although I thought his answer about legacy was hilarious. I don't want a legacy, or I'm just going to die and turn to dust, and then it will just be nothing. It was just funny to me. So there was some value in it, but at the same time, it was, I don't know, so dark and disturbing, and it just seemed so inappropriate, the answer, that it just struck me as hilarious.
Well, I still think he's got a thing for the ladies. He's teetered on bankruptcy a couple of times, hasn't he?
He lost everything. People took advantage of him.
100 and some million, didn't he?
I don't know how much money, but he blew everything. He blew everything. And people took advantage of him because he became so wealthy. And then, of course, you have all the groupies and the people who latch on. And I know, I've seen it. I know what that's all about. And it's not cool. You have people who really come in and they just try to take advantage of you, exploit you. I don't really envy people with a lot of money who are really rich, because when you have a lot of money like that, often you can't really tell who your real friends are. Because they often just want your money.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
So overall, so what do you think? Do you think he means it when he says he's done? He's not going to box anymore. He won't get back in the ring.
Well, if he gets another offer of another $20 million, I mean, he'd be back there in a heartbeat, don't you think?
Yeah, but here's the other question: do you think they could pull that off again? I don't think so. Not after last night.
I think it was a real rip job, Rick. Like a real. I don't think anybody got value for their money, eh?
Yeah.
You know.
I tend to agree. I think that he's done. I think he's done. And it sounds like you've got some commotion in the
yeah. It's a wonder Donald Trump wasn't sitting ringside for that, eh?
Well, that's interesting too, but different times right now, and he's a little busy at the moment, preparing for the transition of power.
Trying to save the world.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And on that note, because there's a lot of noise in the background there, we're going to sign off.
We'll catch you later on the flip side, Mavericks.
All right, thanks, John. You
Cheers.
take care.
Bye.
Bye for now. And there you go. Okay, so we do have other news to cover tonight, so stay with me. I'll be right back on the other side.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching. He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are two iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Okay, and in other news, Justin Trudeau has arrived in Peru. Here's what it looked like today. That's his daughter with him, although I guess some media has been reporting that that's his wife. No, that's his daughter in tow with him. It looks like he's been, in recent trips, he's been taking at least one of his kids with him on these trips. Kind of like take your kid to work day, I guess, but quite an experience for a young person, even if you are the Prime Minister's daughter. Pretty cool to meet other foreign leaders of the world. it is what it is. I don't know. I've seen some people criticizing this, but he's a dad. And when you're traveling that much, I don't blame him at all, honestly, for taking his kids with him. I think that's pretty cool. Take your kids to work. Yeah, it's got to be tough, actually, for any. I'm not just making excuses for Trudeau here. I'm just saying for any person who is in public life like that, traveling a lot, strange hours, to live up to your obligations as a parent and family life. It takes its toll, no doubt about it. And he's been prime minister now for 9 years. So if you think about being a president like Trump or any leader like that for a decade, your kids grow up so fast. You miss so much. I know that even, for me, it was like a blink of an eye and bam. It was like, I remember when they were born and it was, am I ever going to get my life back? Because they need constant attention when they're newborns. And then the next thing you know, they're borrowing the keys to the car and then they are gone. And you're sitting where I am right now going, what happened? So, to any parent, take your kids to work. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with that. Regardless of what you do for a living. Unless it's hazardous work. Like if what do you do? I work in a toxic waste dump. What's your kid doing here? I brought my kid to work. No, don't do that. Speaking of, we're going to get into toxic stuff in a minute. That would have been a good segue, but I'll save it. Sorry. Bad segue. So, yeah, what's Trudeau doing? Well, he's at this Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Peru, APEC. And he says the discussions there are centered around how to continue trade with Trump, who's coming in and promising these sweeping tariffs on all U.S. imports. I'm not sure how far all of that's ultimately going to go. Trump very focused on China, obviously, but looking up north here to Canada, too. And we're told, or at least these Canadian officials, including Foreign Affairs Minister of Canada, saying that other countries are actually looking to Canada for advice on how to deal with the Trump administration, because Canada, of course, has experience dealing with Trump in the past. Whatever, we'll see. We'll see how far that advice takes them. I think that Canada might be in a little bit of not maybe the best position with Trudeau in power, dealing with Trump and his new incoming administration. I think if we had Poilievre, a conservative leader running the country, and a conservative government, I think the response from the Trump administration might end up being better. Canada signed this trade deal back in 2018, the USMCA, which replaced the North American Free Trade Agreement, of course. And that, in the end, that didn't turn out quite all that bad, really, for all the parties involved, in my opinion. I think it ended up being better for the United States, but there were things in it, too, that were okay for both Canada and Mexico, in particular, workers. And we'll see how all this goes. So here's Trudeau. Oh, I have a clip of him at the summit talking about about dealing with Trump. Here we go. This is what we're looking for right here. Justin Trudeau on Trump.
The fact is, middle-class workers in Canada and the United States have been building things together for decades and generations to tremendous success. And basing the arguments around this is how you create jobs in both of our economies, this is how you create opportunity and prosperity there, was hard work. I mean, yeah, it wasn't easy, and nothing's going to be easy this time. Little secret, there is no American administration that is automatically easy for a Canadian government. They take a very robust look at their own interests, and Canada adjusts. But our ability to do that and protect good jobs in Canada is what's going to be at the center of everything. The fact is,
Justin Trudeau in Peru, APEC summit. We'll have more on that as the summit unfolds. Trudeau getting the royal treatment over on MSNBC. Yeah, they I don't really watch MSNBC, and their ratings have taken a beating. All the mainstream media networks, all the networks, I guess their ratings are down substantially, in some cases as much as 20 or maybe even 30% across the board. And it looks like even platforms like X and X Spaces now generate, often, depending on the program, much bigger numbers than even the mainstream media network broadcasts, even during prime time. Well, I guess here he's getting, what do they call this, the MVP treatment or something on this program on MSNBC. Let me just show you the clip. And this is about, this is them responding, talking about foreign policy and people's views on this, obviously. The policies themselves will vary, and that's fine. But listen to the way, it's not even about the commentary on the policies that struck me. It was the way these women on this panel actually fawn over Justin Trudeau. It made me a little bit nauseous, to be quite honest. There, let me run this.
We are back with our nightcap, and you guessed it, it is time for our MVPs of the week. Who had the biggest week? Doesn't have to be the best. Peter, to you first.
I'm going to go with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who this week had the temerity to call out Narendra Modi for what appears to be the assassination of a Sikh nationalist Canadian citizen in British Columbia. And I want to single him out for one really big reason. Remember, Modi came to Washington and was feted. And you talked earlier about democracy.
They had a state dinner for him.
State dinner for a man who has led a government that is undermining Indian democracy, persecuting Muslims in India. And when we've seen the Biden administration come in on the Saudis, on the Russians, on the Ukrainians, and on the Chinese, we've seen him come into office talking about democracy and human rights and slowly backing away from it. Trudeau has not. Trudeau was very early when he first came into office, one of the toughest on the Russians for the 2014 invasion of Ukraine. He's been tough on the Saudis, he's been tough on the Chinese, and now he's been tough on the Indians. I think he's a bit of a model for the West to look to when you talk about liberal democracy.
I think he's a model either way. Oh, yes. You knew that.
Just sock model, maybe. Oh, man. Like this, I think that's an older clip, honestly, but it's making the rounds on social media today. I picked it up and I just thought, ugh. Wasn't about the foreign policy commentary. You can have an opinion on that one way or the other. I don't really care. But the whole thing about, oh, come on. Well, he's available if you want to go on a date with Justin now, my friend. So that's MSNBC for you. No wonder their ratings are tanking. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah. Speaking of foreign policy, I've seen reports now. Saw a report today. I was going to run you a clip from it, but I'm not going to run the clip. It's there were these interviews done with these Cuban fighters fighting with Russia in Ukraine. You have North Korean troops there now, and now you have Cuban troops there as well. The the information that's being shared is that these guys are volunteers, but they have a whole group of them from Cuba who are fighting together. I found it worrisome because this whole thing is spreading, and Russia is now bringing in, it appears, more troops from other countries, and you're getting a real mix of foreign involvement now, and it's Russia that's escalating on that front, and it's worrisome to me. I think it should be worrisome to everyone because when you bring in these North Korean troops, it's just sucking other countries on the other side into the conflict more to the West indirectly involved with, providing aid, and South Korea. The South Korean, the Korean conflict never actually fully resolved. It's more of like a ceasefire. The war never formally declared over. And now the North Korean troops in there, and massive casualties as these troops attempt to retake the area in Russia, the Kursk area. It's a bad situation. So keeping an eye on that one too. Cuban troops in there now fighting with the Russians. So officially Cuba has not sent troops. These guys say they're volunteers, but they're Cubans, and there's a whole bunch of them. I don't know the total number. Not like 10,000, not like North Korea sent, but Cubans in there fighting. And people lose their minds when we're losing their minds. Some people, when they learned that, Ukraine, you had Americans going over to fight with the Ukrainians, and people like, you shouldn't be doing that, and a lot of pushback from people, but I'm not hearing pushback like that from people. Don't seem to care that I don't know. It's strange the way people's minds are working on this conflict. So watching that one closely. And as a result of all of this, and with Trump coming into office, Zelensky did this interview on, I think this is like Ukrainian, I don't know if this is TV, radio, what it is. It's radio. I think it's Ukrainian radio, network radio. In any event, he's being asked about Trump coming in and the prospect of peace talks. And the response here, I think, is telling, but not in the way that some people are analyzing it. For me, this says something much more important. That this resonates with me in this way. Trump is not going to have an easy time when he tries to bring this war to a resolution. If he thinks for 1 minute, and it seems he does, that he's just going to end this thing in 24 hours, not that that's happened yet, but let's say even when he's inaugurated, he's in office, and he has 24 hours to bring peace, it's not going to happen. Because and the people around him who think that the United States can just wave the U.S. magic wand and bring this thing to a conclusion, not going to be like that. Here's Zelensky on the radio program.
Перше, сильна Україна. Вона повинна бути сильною для будь-якої
I'll
дипломатії.
read this for our people just listening on the podcast. It says, firstly, strong Ukraine.
Перше, сильна Україна. Вона повинна.
It has to be strong for any diplomacy. I want to emphasize again. Now, Zelensky is saying here, though, that Trump will probably bring it to a quicker resolution. And in that way, he's optimistic and has a positive outlook on what a Trump administration is going to do. But he says it has to be strong for any diplomacy. I want to emphasize again, he says.
Бути сильною для будь-якої дипломатії. Хочу ще раз це підкреслити.
And the question is, but the USA is not only by a potential mediator in the negotiations.
Не лише потенційний посередник в переговорах, це країна, яка надає
This is a country that provides huge amounts of assistance to Ukraine.
величезні обсяги допомоги Україні, і яка може
And she goes on and says, which can encourage us to sit down at the negotiating
спонукати нас
table.
до того, щоб ми сіли за стіл переговорів. Який
What message did you get from Donald Trump during these contacts that you had with him?
меседж ви отримали від Дональда Трампа під час тих контактів, які у вас з ним були? Тобто як він
I mean, he, as he says, I will become president and sit down
Він каже, я стану президентом і сідайте за стіл переговорів. Як це виглядає?
at the negotiating table. What does it look like? And then Zelensky's laughing.
Я думаю, що він так
He says, no, I think he does not say that.
не каже. Ми незалежна
We are an independent Ukraine, he says. And it seems to me that during this war,
Україна, і мені здається, в час цієї війни наш народ, і я
our people and I personally in negotiations with the United States and with Trump, Biden,
особисто в перемовинах зі Сполученими Штатами Америки і з Трампом, і з Байденом, і з іншими
and other European leaders have proven that with us the rhetoric of sit and listen is not working.
європейськими лідерами довели, що що з нами риторика «сідай і слухай» не працюючи. І це не через те, що
And this is not because we are like that. Not to say that, they're just dismissive of that, but because this is how we should treat any country.
Ми такі, а через те, що так ми повинні відноситись в принципі до будь-якої країни,
Any people, any leader to respect. This is equality.
Будь-якого народу, будь-якого лідера. Поважати. Це, в принципі, рівність, одна з цих цінностей,
One of these values that we are fighting for today.
за які ми боремося сьогодні. Перше, сильна Україна.
So that's Zelensky on that interview, looking ahead to what we expect will be peace negotiations of some kind initiated by Trump. What did I take from that? It says that those words say to me that Zelensky is not the puppet of the United States that people say he is. Those are pretty strong words. He is saying that Ukraine is a sovereign state, a sovereign nation. And yes, even though these other countries are providing massive amounts of aid in order to stand up against the Russians and the full-scale invasion of their country, it is still a sovereign state. And no other state, and I think he's quite right to do this because he is the leader of Ukraine. I think any leader worth their salt should say exactly this, what he has said. No other country will dictate to us whether we surrender or we fight. Such is the case even in Canada. Canada being a very small country, yes, we bend the knee quite a bit to the United States, but Canadians always appreciate it here as well when we assert our sovereignty and our own authority over our own destiny, even when the United States wants to take a different path or wants us to do something sometimes that we don't want to do. Case in point, the Iraq War. People here probably don't realize that Canada took a different tact on the Iranian, the war in Iraq. Canada played sort of a supportive role, but never actually got directly involved in that way. I remember Parliament debating it, and Canada did not become fully engaged in the way that the United States had hoped Canada would. Yeah, we were over there, but not engaged in the battles. You look it up; it's true. And I think Canadians appreciated that at the time. And yes, even though the United States is providing massive amounts of aid, and by far the biggest provider, Zelensky is saying, no, you don't dictate to us. We will fight if we if we choose to fight. I don't blame him, honestly. I think that's what any leader, that's the position any true leader would take. You can flip out on me if you want and completely disagree, but this shows me that all these accusations of a coup and Zelensky being a puppet of the United States, not really quite true, because he's standing up to the United States, and they're making it pretty clear they're gonna fight to the end. That's what I'm getting from all of this. Even this document that came out talking about the possibility of Ukraine developing a nuclear weapon possibly within months. That tells us something. And yeah, I think that there is something to be taken very seriously there, because Ukraine does have nuclear technology. And when they gave up their nukes, they had the third largest stockpile of nuclear weapons in the world at the time when they gave those up. And they gave them up in exchange for assurances of national security and a preservation of their national sovereignty, that their borders would be respected and protected. And it is true that the Budapest Memorandum, which held those assurances, those guarantees from the UK, the United States, and Russia, all three of them, Ukraine has in many respects been betrayed. And what we've seen throughout this conflict, which I don't think had to happen. I think Trump is probably right when he says if he had been president, it never would have happened. But not for the reasons most people think. I think that at the time Trump was viewed as something more volatile and as a leader. And there was peace through strength at the time. It was Trump who also gave Ukraine the Javelin missiles. And I don't know how this is going to go down. If Trump can't resolve the thing within 24 hours, then I think all bets are off, frankly. And you may see that, and it depends on how Vladimir Putin treats Trump, the way that he approaches this. And so far, I wouldn't say that Putin has been playing his cards properly at all. Waiting more than 2 days before even acknowledging or commenting on Trump becoming president, I don't think that was wise. And then allowing Russian state media to run those old nude pictures of Melania. Yeah, and there have been other indiscretions, I would say, as well. Now, I don't know. It seems like there are other things playing up behind the scenes. And that phone call that was supposed to have taken place between Putin and Trump, reported in the Washington Post. Did it happen? Didn't it happen? We're not sure, because the Russians are denying it, saying it never happened. Who knows? Who knows? I do know this. I've seen a lot of the pundits that I see analyzing it. They're just spreading additional propaganda. This is trial balloons. This is politics being played out in public, where messages are being sent through public channels using the media in order to send veiled messages back and forth between the Kremlin and the White House, or the future White House, I would say. And we're privy to some of that that we're seeing in the public, but people are having trouble deciphering it to figure out exactly what it means. And we saw that top aide to Putin also making those kind of alarming comments about 3 days ago, saying that Trump has certain obligations after benefiting from certain forces that led to his election. What to make of that? Very, very strange, very cryptic. And I don't know. As I just watch all of this play out, it's a totally different ballgame now with this change in administration. And Biden, as much as they've been providing a lot of aid to Ukraine, not all of that money has been flowing. In fact, only a percentage of it so far has found its way into Ukraine. So not as much is going over there as people are being told. Very interesting, some of it very troubling. And all of this happening as we teeter on the brink of, honestly, an escalated Third World War that potentially could go kinetic. And these conflicts between Ukraine and Gaza definitely connected, all of it intertwined, and now more nations becoming involved. I do hope that Donald Trump is right and that he can bring this thing to a quick, speedy resolution that will be acceptable to all sides. But it's going to be far more complicated than just the United States walking in there and saying, this has to be over. We don't like it anymore. You know, he can pull his support. But even if he does, it looks to me like some of these European nations are ready to step up and throw in more support to bolster Ukraine in this fight. And even Japan has now just pledged an additional $3 billion as part of a $50 billion G7 nation loan to Ukraine. And that's the other thing people, I don't think, are understanding, is that these are loans. And if you want your money back, Ukraine's got to win. If Ukraine doesn't win the conflict, you're probably not going to get any of it back, folks. But if there can be some sort of resolution, then they'll be on the hook for a lot of dough over time. So we'll see. Let me just bring this up here. This is Japan's foreign minister, Takeshi Iwaya. I apologize for bumbling his name. This is them meeting to discuss this $3 billion injection.
Шановний пане міністре, я дуже радий вас.
And I'm sorry I don't have a translation here for what they're saying.
Ми вдячні вашим колегам.
But there are other countries
Сьогодні присутні тут.
providing support, not just the United States, Japan included. And each of these countries has their own take on this, each one their own set of interests. And as I say, it's not as simple as the United States just making a declaration.
Пане президенте, для мене велика честь зустрітися з вами тут в Києві. Дозвольте висловити свою повагу до вашого лідерства і боротьбі проти
The United States is the biggest contributor by far, but there's a certain amount of, I would say, even North American, Canadian, U.S. arrogance that comes with the thought, the belief, and naivete that the United States is going to be the sole determiner in how this thing is resolved. Obviously, a lot of influence there, and by far probably the most. But pull the rug out from underneath Ukraine, and the consequences of doing that, I think, are unforeseen. It's hard to tell where that could lead. Keep in mind too that even during World War II, Ukrainian forces didn't fight like it's a bunch of Nazis. Yeah, well, you know what? It was actually Ukrainians that contributed significantly on the Russian side during World War II and fought with Russia to repel, ultimately, Nazi forces. And people here would be wise to be mindful of that, keeping in mind that if Russia were to, say, take control of Ukraine, those Ukrainian military forces could easily be flipped around and then be focused in an adversarial way against Western nations in Europe. That's a very real possibility. And when I hear people saying that Putin wants a neutral Ukraine, I would argue that he doesn't want a neutral Ukraine. He wants a pro-Russian government in Ukraine. And that's what he had before all of this went down. His guy, Yanukovych, he was pro-Russian. And he was ousted. He ended up leaving the country as Ukrainians wanted to join the European Union and do more trade with the EU. Putin didn't want that. He tried to keep them more engaged with Russia. And this is more complex than people are being told. The whole narrative surrounding all of this stuff, it's more complicated than even just this whole expansion of NATO argument. It's just not that simple. I'm sorry, it just isn't. As these things never are. They're never that black and white. It's not that crystal clear. It's very complicated. And I think what I've just laid out for you illustrates that. So we'll see where it all goes. Pray for peace. I guess that's a pretty simple thing.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
What's going on with Trump, too, is just sending shockwaves through the government, even more so this time around. A lot of concerns about the people being announced for Trump's administration. On both sides, I hear people losing their minds on both sides with accusations of Trump bringing in neocons and warmongers because Marco Rubio is going to be Secretary of State. And then on the other side, I'm hearing, I'm also hearing, concerns that, this is from the other side, that people like Tulsi Gabbard being pulled into position in the intelligence community, and people are freaking out over that on the Democrat side, saying that she represents a potential internal threat to national security because of comments she's made that appear to be pro-Russian over time, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz even accusing Tulsi Gabbard of being a Russian asset. And if you go back all the way to the period of time when Tulsi Gabbard was running for the nomination, the presidential nomination, as a Democrat against Hillary Clinton at the time, Hillary Clinton was accusing Tulsi Gabbard even then of being some sort of a Russian asset or being influenced by Russia. So this is a long-standing thing with a number of these people, including Tulsi Gabbard, who is now over in the Trump camp and is now an actual Republican, having switched affiliation. So very, very volatile. I keep using that word tonight, but it is volatile. It's unstable. Everything is shifting. The political landscape has seen seismic shifts over the past, year and a half, especially, with people switching sides, Republicans joining the Democrats and Democrats going over and joining the Republicans, because I think the Republican Party as it is today is the Republican Party is not what it was. It's now MAGA. It's not Republican, and it's populist. It's not conservative, whatever that is, and that's a mix. I would say, again, here's the word volatile, and people don't know. I think people are still not quite sure what to make of it, and that's why you're seeing, accusations of, the N word, the Nazi word, being thrown around so loosely, and it's they're fascists, they're conservative, like whatever. You're getting a lot of this, and you are getting people from across the spectrum. I would say the political spectrum over there. Now, that's leaving people like who are leading other countries to make all kinds of comments, and they're all wondering, how do we deal with this incoming administration? And here in Canada, it's all about the oil, it's all about the gas, right? Because Trump keeps saying, drill, baby, drill. And Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta, saying that while she'd like to see Canada take forward a unified approach, she doesn't have much confidence in Justin Trudeau at all. And I can understand that. And she's saying that Alberta will look out for its own interests. Here she is.
First on this to ensure that your energy
CBC.
Products aren't tariffed, or does the access to your energy become part of the Team Canada conversation about ensuring all sectors of the economy are not subject to any kind of new tariffs?
I would love a Team Canada approach, but look, we're not going to allow for an emissions cap to have any role in reducing our production. And so if the federal government is insistent upon going down that pathway, then we'll take care of our own interests. I would like our interests to align with the federal government. I've told them so. I've told them that dropping the emissions cap is part and parcel of being able to do that. They have been unresponsive so far, but I think they need to recalibrate the relationship with the United States. We know what the United States wants. They want the federal government to meet its 2% NATO commitment, and they want to be able to participate with us in energy security. If those are the two things that we have to bring to the table, then you don't come to the table with an emissions cap. So that's part of the reason why we are going to be as collaborative as we can with the federal government approach. But we absolutely will defend our own interests and make our own relationships if we have to.
Yeah, and I think she's got a good point there too. That we know what the Trump administration really wants, and her reference there to the NATO countries like Canada actually stepping up and meeting their spending commitments. More than anything, I think that's really what Trump wants. That's what it was during his last administration as well. And when you look at his track record, he came away with spending increases from NATO countries, which is, I think, what he really wanted all along. He doesn't want the United States to foot the bill for everything. And if you're going to enjoy the unified protection of belonging to NATO, he wants these other NATO countries to pay their full share of the bill, their fair share. That's what it's all about. And I think even now, with regard to Ukraine, it's much the same thing. As much as he's engaging in all this rhetoric and there's a lot of political bluster there, I think, in the end, I think that's what he really is looking for. He's looking for Europe to kick more in, because it's really European protection, even more so than any U.S. interest that might be present in the Ukraine conflict. It's Europe and European security and the stability of the EU and the economy of Europe, and the potential threat from an adversarial nation that is of most interest to European nations, so they should be paying more of it. And there's no question the United States has been paying a disproportionate share of the bill for this whole conflict in Ukraine. But that being said, Ukraine is its own country, and ultimately, Trump can influence, but he can't make the decision for the Ukrainians. That's going to come down to the government in power over there, and whatever pressure the people of Ukraine also apply. So we will see. Time will tell.
You know, someone very profoundly once said, many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media,
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
It's interesting too, as much as Trump is getting all this attention because of his plan to bring in tariffs against various nations, he's not the only one. Biden also announced that he was bringing in tariffs and actually initiated them. So there were big tariffs announced by Biden against the Chinese, especially Chinese electric vehicle imports. And even here in Canada, the Trudeau administration also embracing tariffs against China. So all these countries are now beginning to wake up, and they're all following, actually, I would say Trump's lead, because he was the first one to start talking about it, and then they've all jumped on that bandwagon. But Trump is going to really facilitate it when he gets into office. There's unity on that front as an economic approach to dealing with this increasing economic challenge, I would say, particularly from China, but all other countries around the world, really. So just to kind of keep that in perspective. Now, speaking of the economy, the Canadian economy, it potentially could take a big hit in a way just because of this postal strike that began yesterday. And now a special mediator has been appointed to support negotiations between Canada Post and the union that represents Canada Post's striking workers. And this is breaking news, actually. And so, what do we know? Well, we know that the strike began early Friday after an agreement could not be reached between the two sides, and it has shut down postal service across Canada nationwide. We're looking at about 55,000 workers, and I would say the reason this is happening right now is not just because the contract has come up or come to a conclusion or an end, it has expired, but also because of the time of year. They're on strike now because it's Christmas season, you see? This is the busiest time of year at the post office by far. And here we are in November. People are trying to send their packages out. This is going to cost Canada Post Corporation huge. And it's going to be a huge inconvenience for Canadians, which gives the union, the workers, more and more leverage at the bargaining table, because it's like, you better settle now. It's Christmas season. You got to make it count now. Let's get her done. So I don't know how far that will take the union, but I would say they're definitely, they've definitely got a sound strategy there in terms of timing. And Jagmeet Singh of the NDP capitalizing on this. This is Jagmeet Singh, socialist, fronting a party, leading a party that traditionally was supposed to back up unions, back up workers. These days, I would say the NDP still in alignment with union leaders, but not so much with workers. They've kind of abandoned workers in much the same way the Democrats have in the U.S. And as a result, labor, like the actual labor movement, the people, the workers, they've shifted over, and that's why there was so much support for Trump. The Democrats have lost that. The NDP has lost that. But today, Jagmeet Singh trying to recoup that support from the labor side by going out and issuing a warning to Justin Trudeau saying, don't you bring in binding arbitration. Don't you get involved in this labor dispute. You stay out of it and let Canada Post and its workers resolve this at the bargaining table, because with it being a crown corporation and with the stakes as high as they are because of package delivery, the impact on the economy, especially at this time of year, some people would like Justin Trudeau to step in and the federal government and legislate an end to this. Jagmeet Singh trying to score points saying, don't you dare, and if you do, he'll pull his support in Parliament. He will force an election by forcing a confidence vote in the House. And that could trigger an election in Canada.
So, New Democrats are here to stand in solidarity with these workers. We've got a clear message. We want these workers to be able to negotiate a fair deal. That's right. These workers have the right to strike. That's right. So our message to the Liberals is, stay out of it. That's right. Don't interfere, don't force binding arbitration, and certainly do not bring in back-to-work legislation. The workers are demanding fair wages and safe work conditions, and we support them. That's right. Every step of the way. I want to say something very clearly. If Justin Trudeau and the Liberals think they can bring in any back-to-work legislation, even if they make it a confidence vote, New Democrats will be voting against it. These workers deserve to strike. They deserve to fight for fair wages, and we're going to back them up so they can do that every step of the way. Hear, hear. Solidarity! 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 Solidarity!
I'm not so sure that the NDP is actually the party of labor solidarity anymore. I'm pretty sure they're not. In a strange way, over time, it's actually the Conservatives now who have been enacting policies, bringing policies forward that have been more labor-friendly. As I say, the political landscape shifting, changing, morphing, evolving. And these parties of today are not the parties of the 1980s and even the 1990s anymore. Much, much different in the alignments, the political alignments. What's the old saying? Oh yeah, politics makes for strange bedfellows. Indeed. And with that, it is time to sign off, and we will be back tomorrow night with more strange political tales from the dark side and the light side right here on Maverick News. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you, everybody, for joining me here this evening and spending your time here. An absolute privilege, as always. See you at 7 p.m. Eastern on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.